delighted, I was thrilled. I was like, oh my God, I made it back. I was so happy, you know. And then it's like, all of a sudden, I thought, okay, I made it. And then I turned around, a non-existent shoulder. I mean, I didn't have a real shoulder, but I still had this feeling of, the body. So I kind of turned behind to see the world, or to kind of, just see or say bye-bye or whatever, because I was so happy where I was. When I turned around, there was nothing. There was nothing there. No world, no earth, no nothing. And I was like, where did it go? Where did it go? I mean, it has to be there. And then it was like, I'm asking this question of myself or the universe or the light or whatever. And the knowing, you see what happens over there is you know everything because you are the light, you are that. You don't have to ask, you see. So the question went to myself itself, that what happened? Where did it go? And the answer that came back to me was, and I said, wasn't it real? So what? And the thing came back was, sure, it existed. It was real. It was as real as your mind. It's your mind-created world. Whenever we say something like, it's all in the mind, we have this expression. It's really true. We create our world. It's like an example. If there are two people sleeping on the same bed, one is having a dream and the other is having a dream. Can you get into the other person's dream? You cannot. It's impossible. Because everyone is living in their own mind-created world, you see? So that's what it is. So when you leave the body, when there's no mind, there's no world. It's as simple as that. And you've come home. And it was beautiful. At that moment, I also felt, I wasn't scared at all, I felt this presence envelop me. It was the presence of love, unconditional love, which you cannot really explain in words. It's impossible. It's the love that we're all seeking outside of ourselves. Don't realize that love is us. We're only seeking ourselves. We're only looking for ourselves. It's like the musk deer. I don't know if you would know about a musk deer. A deer, it has this musk at the bottom of its face, hanging right here, and it goes crazy with the smell of the musk. And it's running around searching for it everywhere, not realizing that it's right under, it's within. You see, in the same way, we're looking for love, we're looking for happiness, we're looking for all the things we want, we're looking for peace outside of ourselves, not realizing that this treasure chest is inside of us. People say, I want peace, I want peace, I want peace. I say to them, remove the I, which is the ego. Remove want, which is desire. What do you have left? Peace. These are the two things that are obstacles to peace. You see, it's like surrender, surrender, surrender. Because now, the other thing I learned over there was, I had these questions. All of a sudden, when all this thing was going on, I saw it from my body, there were these gross, not gross, but slightly larger particles like a nucleus, like atoms coming out from this side of this electric body that I had. And there were very fine particles coming in from this side. So what was happening was it was more like an exchange. So the gross or whatever was there within me was going out. And there was a very finer frequency coming in. My DNA was being changed. The frequency was being upped, upped, upped. So they were very fine particles. And at that moment, it was like my whole being was opened up. And the laws of the universe, the knowings were just pouring in, and I was just receiving, receiving. And as that was going on, one of the things that came very clearly to me, one of the knowings, and I have a book that I've written on that, Ecstasy. I'll give you a CD of that today, all of you, before you leave, was that we write our own story. That is the place we have the choice. You see what happens when we leave our body and we go into that beautiful space. It's so beautiful. I would love to go back there right now. I want to. I didn't want to come back. And I said, no, you have to go. And I said, why? I said, because you have to do the work. And before I go further, as I said to you, I was a multimillionaire. I was very wealthy. When I went back, I realized that this is all temporary. I had a $4 million home. I said, this is just concrete, it's bricks. Doesn't mean anything. It was a little hard for me to give it up. And I had a dream where I was shown these beautiful castles, like Disney World castles in the air. And I was flying up to them, and I couldn't leave it. And then I was told, each and every one of us has our castle. We are all princesses and princes. We're beautiful children of the universe, of God. We are divine. We've forgotten that we're divine. We think we're human, we're weak, but we have all the power in us. We are so powerful. You can do anything you want. Anything. You just have to will it. It's all in the mind. You create your own world. I really mean you can do anything. Anything. I've done so much, been through so much, and then all of a sudden, if you really want to do something, that's the story you wrote for yourself. You see? So when the soul is up there and it's in its resting period or in a different realm, whatever you want to say, it now has, its time has come again to come back. Because basically everything is, our actions are all karmic. We're going on and creating action. And in one lifetime, it's like a school. We come to earth, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Every lifetime is a different grade, you see? And so in every lifetime, as we evolve, as we learn our lessons, we come back again to the higher grade and the higher grade. And then sometimes you say, you know what? I want a double promotion in this life. I want to get there faster. I want to finish the game faster. When you want this double promotion, then we're so powerful when we're in soul form. You say, well, you know what? I'm going to take this challenge, and I'm going to take this obstacle, and I'm going to come handicapped, and I'm going to come in this family where I'm going to have so much trouble, and I'm going to have this, and you take all kinds of stuff on you, and I'm going to make it. I'm going to go through it. And the divine says, are you sure you can handle this? And you say, well, yes, of course. You're so powerful there. And you take it. And then the divine says to you, because he loves us so much, he says, all right, go ahead. Like you would say to your child, go ahead, play, but I'm watching over you. And then you say, if you get into trouble, if you feel that you can't handle it, call me. And that's when we pray. And that's when we ask for, don't ask for your obstacle or your pain to be removed. Don't ask for it. Because you've got to pay your debt. You'll have to pay it in the next life. If I may very humbly suggest, ask for the strength to deal with it. Because then you're done and you can move on, you see. So he says, all right, pray to me. Pray and I will shower grace. And what is that? That is, let's say if you want to cross the street and it starts raining. You're wearing this wonderful dress and your hair's all done and you don't want it to get spoiled, right? You say, oh God, but I have to cross the road to go to wherever you're going. So you pray and someone comes and hands you an umbrella. There you go. You cross the street, you don't get wet, and you cross the street in the rain. The same way, when you pray, God comes and hands you the umbrella. So you go through your pain, you go through your suffering, but you don't feel it. You just get teeny, you just get a little wet. And I'll tell you something, pain is your best friend. It's your best teacher. I welcome pain. Because pain brings out character. Pain brings out the strength inside of us, which we didn't know existed. Pain is fantastic. And later when you go through the pain, it's awful. But when you come out of it, I am sure all of you must have gone through it many times in your life. You say, wow, I didn't even know I could do that. I didn't know I had this in me. But you see, you will, because you wrote your story. You wrote it. You wrote that you want to go through this pain. So don't run away from it. You can do it. Just roll up your sleeves and say, you know what? I'm going to deal with you because I know I can do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be coming to me. Don't be afraid. There's no such thing as fear. Fear is just false experience appearing as reality. Fear is not real. Fear is only in the mind. Fear is ego. Ego telling you, you can't do it, you can't do it. And your conscience says, you can, but the voice is very soft. But the mind and your fear and your ego, because it doesn't want to, it wants to be in control of you. So anyway, these are some of the things that, I got from there. And the other thing, the most important thing that I got from there is that, so I asked her, I said, tell me about 3 minutes before I'm ending. About 20 minutes. What's the time right now? Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. Okay, I'll finish in about 2 minutes. What I wanted to say, just to finish with this, I'm so sorry, is that because I asked to be reminded, but no one did, so I thought I had time. The most important thing that I learned and I know is that we are love. We are nothing but love. You are love. And there is nothing that exists in this universe except love. That's all we bring and that's all we take. So please, just be in that love mode. Be happy. Give out love. And God is love. You are love, love, and nothing but love. So I'll pass it on to Brian.
I'm actually going to stand up. It's easier for me. When I was age 4, or excuse me, age 3, around age 3, I drowned in a pool. And I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit. I just came to talk about that. And so at this young age, I also had a different experience when I was a young adult. I was upset over breaking up with a girlfriend, and also some other issues with some medicine and some other things. And I became depressed, and through that, before attempting suicide, I was told that God could take away my pain. And then I had a marvelous experience where that was taken away, and then my life started anew. And then about 15 years ago, I was traveling on a business trip from Palm Springs, California, to Provo, Utah, where I lived at that time. And someone was driving with me, and when we traded, I was asleep, and he fell asleep, and I ended up being ejected in a rollover. And I'll talk about that in a moment, but it's coming up to talk about my first experience. So as I was a child, I didn't know how to swim yet. I was about H3 as best that I could have an idea. I just knew it was summertime in California. When I was a child, we lived in the hills of Los Angeles. And my father was a policeman, and my mother was a homemaker. And we had a neighbor who was also a policeman. And he had a pool in his front yard. And that was really unusual. It was unusual that he had a pool and also in his front yard. And all I can remember about that day is that my father was playing with my siblings in the pool. My mom didn't know how to swim. She grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, where they could go out and float in the lake. So there was no reason to learn to swim.